Hey all, welcome back to another episode of My World. I'm Regaris, of course. Today we're going to cover a couple of things. We're going to cover the Essential Craft 3 Ember Forge. This was this little thing that I said I had no idea how to get this thing working. I finally figured it out after futzing around with it a little bit. And then I want to talk about a little Botania, talking about the Entropinnyum, which is the flower that uses TNT to create mana. But I also want to talk about the Botania Autocrafting system that I've been messing around with the last couple of days. Pretty frustrated with that. Not the best autocrafting around. But first, let's talk about the Ember Forge. Before, I couldn't figure out how to get this thing to work because it's really, it says to, the book is very unclear. It says, to place 4 elemental foci, and these are elemental focus, and then embers on the Ember Forge. Well, this is the actual Ember Forge, so you would assume, which is always bad because you don't want to assume because you know what that means, but you would think that this is where you're supposed to put it, but you're not. So what the book says is you wait until night. So we've got a little bit there. We can fix that if we need to. But it takes 4 of the elemental focus, and then you need 4 of the embers. So far as I can tell, the embers don't make a difference. But what you end up getting is swords. Now I made the fire focus sword. What this will give you, I think I can just pop that out. If we look at it, it says primal attribute fire, second attribute fire. Now, so when you whack something, of course, it catches on fire. But I think this also has fire aspects, so maybe that does it. But it also, if you block with it, you see that kind of a fire, but it's fire resistance that it's giving you. So every time you kind of click it over, it's giving you fire resistance. So that's kind of neat. Then if we take the earthen, the one that uses the earth focus, if you kind of right click it, do I got to target something? Well, sometimes it'll do it. I don't know if you got to hold down but okay, what the hell? So I got to block. It gives you like a resistance or something like that. It's either resistance or absorption. One of those two. And when you hit mobs with it, I think it gives them a slowness buff from what I can tell. And then, of course, you got your water focus one over here. If I can pop it out. This one, of course, I don't know what it does when it hits mobs, but it gives you... probably because I don't have... This is why. I don't have this little thing, and those things aren't charged. This one gives you a regen buff. Like you can see the hearts down there. You can see how it disappears real quick though, but it does give you a regen buff. Let's put that back where it's supposed to be. So that's pretty neat. I don't know what the wind one does. I figured we'd make that one. We still got a little bit. So let's grab a watch of flowing time. And turn it all the way up. Probably going to need my Klein star on me there. And then let's go ahead and get it to nighttime. We'll speed up, get it into night. That should be good, I think. Alright, so now what I figured out what you need to do with these things, you've got to throw, you don't throw the focus here. I figured out the embers, and after I figured out how the embers, I said, okay, well, let's try it with the focus. So what you do is you come up here and you kind of throw big. You got to throw over it. If you try to get it on there, it doesn't really work. So you toss it up on there. It's not completely night yet, or you'll start seeing a kind of a charge coming from those, or you'll see like these turn into a little flame. Didn't get it up there. Like I said, throw big, throw over it, and damn it. Went back too far. So you got your 4 elemental focus up there, and then you'll take your embers and do the same thing with the blue ones. May need to wait a little bit more. Oh, I know why it's not doing it. Hold on. I had all the particles off. That's why. Yeah, there you go. See how they're kind of particleizing stuff there now? And you're going to do the same thing with your embers. You're going to toss them big. Toss them over the blue so they kind of get caught. See, this not really explained in the book very well. But so what'll happen now is it'll start making some noise. And eventually it'll turn into a sword. It doesn't take too long. You'll see it kind of pop off in a little bit here. Like I said, I have no idea what the wind sword does. And off it popped. So we got our little... This is primal attribute air. See, does it give us a buff? Strength and speed looks like. So if you just keep... It doesn't seem like it lasts very long. I don't know if it's because I don't have any charge on it. See, it just goes away really, really fast, which kind of sucks. I haven't figured out if there's a way to increase that or not. But let's go see what it does to... Let's see if we can find a mob over here. Oh, okay, we got some zombies. See what it does to these guys. Okay, it looks like every time you swing it, you get that. Or hit something, you get that buff. So that's nice. But it doesn't look like... Where'd that zombie go? Oh, there he is. Okay. Does it do anything? Nope. Maybe it does like a knockback. But the strength and stuff is pretty nice. That means you're going to get some extra damage there. And this is, of course, not enchanted. I hear you. I hear you. A little pitter-patter your feet. So these are pretty neat. And I know when they're enchanted, they go up to... Now this one seems like it has +8 attack damages. These all have like +7. And... they enchant up to about 13.5 or 13.25 damage on them. So that's not too bad. I mean, that's pretty much what the Terror Shatterer does. And as far as I can tell, like I said, the Ember, I made the fire sword like 3 or 4 times just to see if the Ember made a difference, and it doesn't really seem to. And I have not tried yet to see if mixing the focus will change it up either. So that's something I want to try eventually. But I did want to show you how to kind of do that. Just remember your focus needs to be thrown over. You can't click on it or anything like that. You got to kind of throw it over the blocks. The magic plating is for your focus. And the pale plating is for the Ember, and then that's how you get your swords. And I'm still going to play around with that, see if that does anything more than those swords, because I don't know for sure. So let me pause real quick, and we'll come back and we'll take a look at the Botanio. That's the Spanish version of Botania. We'll come back and take a look at that real quick and show you what I've been kind of messing around with. Be back in a sec. So before we go take a look at the Botanic stuff real quick, a couple of additions. We have a Vulcanite amulet from Project E on a dark matter pedestal. And what this will do for us is it prevents rain and snowstorms, tends to stop weather every 1 second. So the reason I put this up is the reason I sleep a lot is to stop rain. If you didn't know, once you sleep, it prevents rain for like a day or maybe more in Minecraft. Wish that worked in real life. But so that's what this is for. It's just a real simple way for us to keep it from raining, especially since me working on all this stuff. I've been ignoring sleeping, and it starts raining all the time. Some other stuff that I added is I made a Nomotron. This is from Practicalities. Not too hard to make. for us currently, because like I said, we're resource heavy, so it's really not a big deal to use the resources to make it. But you put your food in here. You just click it and it opens up. You put your food in there. I don't know if it'll take the mana cookies or not, but it probably doesn't really matter. But it automatically feeds you. But according to Joe Tato, the creator of this, is it doesn't waste your food. Like if you're like half a bar or just half a haunch and it feeds you or whatever, or it doesn't waste how much you would get. It puts it into saturation. So it's actually a really good item to have if you want to be auto fed. It's not like the Project E helmet that just automatically feeds you and it doesn't use food. This one does take food, but it does help out. It automatically feeds you. But this is the kind of the Entropinnyum stuff that I've been working on. I'll explain all this mess in a second, but the Entropinnyum, if you didn't know, it is this little flower right here, and what it'll do is it will take TNT when it explodes. Instead of it damaging the area around it, the Entropinnyum sucks up that explosion and then converts it into mana, and it's quite a bit of mana. We've only got one, of course, right here, and then this is just a setup. Now, of course, you'd want to do more than one if you wanted a big mana setup, and it's something I'm thinking about actually doing just to see to follow the challenge. Because if you look at the challenge in the book, when you go down to Entropinnyum, create a system that automatically crafts TNT and safely feeds it to an Entropinnyum flower. Now, you'll see some obsidian here. I had some fails. I blew a couple big holes in here. And the reason that I'm using a planter right here... Okay, I got to turn those particles off again. I got to change my pack to get rid of potion particles. I cannot stand that from the beacons. But originally I had a Runicarpus here, a dropper, or not a dropper, but the open crate dropping dynamite or TNT on it, and then of course setting it off, and that was working fine. But I didn't have the timing right, so first time it blew up, I didn't really lose anything, just some hole in the ground. The second time it destroyed the flower and the open crate. So I didn't want to craft those again just to lose them. So this stuff I can make with EMC. So that's why I went with this. But what this does, and of course your timing is going to depend on which spreader you use and whether or not you use a block placer or the Runicarpus, because you got to take into effect that when it drops that TNT, it takes it a second before it'll actually place it. So you'll definitely want to time it all out to figure out what your timing is. Currently, with this setup, it's at every 10 seconds it puts down a piece of TNT. But I could probably go a little bit faster than that, but I want to give it a safety buffer. Because if this is full, if the Entropinnyum can't take that energy from the explosion, it won't. It'll just explode and destroy. That's what happened to me. I didn't have the timing right, and this wasn't completely drained. 10 seconds, this has got a potency velocity lens on it, so it drains really fast. So the 10 seconds isn't that big of a deal. And then over here, to make it all automatic, we have a comparator on this pool. And then I have a length of wire. So from there to here, if you look down at the tooltip down at the bottom right, you'll see right here this power is at 14. That gives me just a little bit of leeway here. I don't like taking this all the way to the top, because 15 means it's completely full, and I don't want to take the chance that this gets backed up with mana. So I take it at 14, which, it's almost full. And then as soon as that drops a little bit, it'll pop this back out. But since we have a nice safety gap right here, we don't worry about it. So this is completely automatic. It wouldn't be too hard to expand this. You just want to add placers or whatever. You could probably get away with like one runicarpus for quite a distance, but you want to make sure that you have a mana spreader per flower, because it does put out quite a bit, but it does it like in a burst. So take that into account. So this part is actually pretty easy to do. The thing that's been making me pound my head into the table is trying to autocraft with Botania. Doing simple things like, or simple items, or if we look at patterns, I think they're called patterns. Doing simple things that require like a single thing or a 2x2 or just two. If you look up here, you can just see the 1x3, 3x1. Doing stuff like that is not too bad if it is a single resource. Like doing compress this or compress that or making sticks. That sort of thing is pretty straightforward to automate. This is kind of the last thing that I tried was the Corporea network, using the funnels, which will pull from in the network. Damn it, hiccups every time. A little drinky drink there. I should calm that right down. Did actually use the hourglass timer. Downside of this is the fastest this thing will go is a 1 second timer, and that's with a single sand block in there. But what this little setup is doing right here, and you don't need to use this Corporea network. The only benefit to this is that it pulls from you can put all your items in a single chest instead of having two chests to fill up, but it's a lot cheaper to do it. You could just do this with a chest full of gunpowder and a chest full of sand, and then using the kind of the same thing that we did. Where did I do that at? I know I did that somewhere else. Well, you could use a. Did I just do that and I show something? But you put a torch in between here, and then power, or just turn that torch on and off, and it'll do the same kind of a thing. But what this does is, if we load this up with sand and gunpowder, what'll happen is this timer is going to tick every second, and it's going to come over and click this one first, which will put a gunpowder in there, and then it's going to wait a tick after that and come over and put a sand in this one, which will go into the red string container, and then put it in a crafty crate, and it'll drop out a thing of dynamite. Now, here's the bad thing. Since the way it fires, it's going to, the very next one is going to, it's already going to have a sand popped in there. So instead of it being like, say this is the crafting grid, instead of it being gunpowder, sand, or I'm sorry, yeah, gunpowder, sand, gunpowder, now it's going to be sand, gunpowder, sand. So the next time around, it's going to drop out just the materials because there's no recipe for it. Then the next one will be right because it'll be gunpowder, sand, gunpowder. So what I did is I set this up over here to pick up the sand and the gunpowder that drops, so it just pops back in there. So basically, every other one is not a dynamite. It's dynamite, crap, dynamite, crap, dynamite, crap. Now I tried using a funnel and a Corporea, shoot, what the hell's that thing called? Not index. Where's Corporea? Corporea interceptor. Now the way the interceptor would work is you tell the interceptor, okay, TNT, and you put it somewhere around here, or you want it touching the block that it, or the funnel. So you tell the interceptor, like, say I wanted to make sticks. So you put an item frame on the interceptor with a stick in it, and then over here, you on the funnel, which this is the funnel, on the funnel you would put the material that you want to use. And so you'd come over here and you'd say, okay, I want 16 sticks. And it'll say, okay, we don't have any, and then boom, this thing will create it. Well, that works fine with, like I said, with like compressed cobblestone or a easy material. It does not work with complex things like cake or dynamite, because it randomly pulls, the funnel randomly pulls. What I did is I put a gunpowder and a sand on here, but it randomly pulls the items that have item frames on it, so you don't know uh, what order it's going to be in. So you don't know if you're going to get a gunpowder and a sand and gunpowder and sand. You could get 2 gunpowders, 3 sand. It just never kind of works. The only way to make a complex one is to use a chest and then put them in the order that you want them to drop. So you'd have to say, and you can't even put like a stack. You'd have to put gunpowder, sand, gunpowder, sand, gunpowder, sand, gunpowder, sand, etc. Because that's the way it's going to drop down into the hopper, and that's how it's going to go into the crafter crate, which will then drop it out. But that's not what we want to do. So if you know a way to do it, please let me know. I'd love to be able to do it with Botania alone. But if you go and you do a search for Botania Autocrafting, Crafty Crate, or any any arrangement of those words, you're gonna find automation for applied energistics. Okay, I know how to do automation with applied energistics. Apparently that's what just everybody uses is applied energistics. So I even tried taking 9 separate chests, lining them up, loading up with gunpowder sand, etc., all the way down, and then having them drop down into hoppers and feeding over. I just triggered it in order, and yeah, that didn't work either. So I just really not sure how to do this. I'll probably keep messing around with it, but I'd like to, make a fully automated kind of system with this. I think it would be a lot of fun. We already have a creeper spawner that we can use for the gunpowder, so we'd have to set up something that supplied us with gunpowder. Not a big problem. We can kill off the creepers. We have a bunch of different ways we could do it. We have just like we're already doing it, and Essential Craft has a couple of items that I'm going to play with and see how they work, that don't actually kill the mob but still give us their resources. I've got that item. I just need some creepers to see if it works. Like if I have more than one, do I get more items? That sort of thing. So that's some stuff I want to test with that. And then it also has a thing called a dark obelisk, which is another kind of a spawning mechanic for them, for that mod. So I want to check that out. But I think it would be a lot of fun to kind of completely put this together. But if possible, I would really like to use Botania to do the auto crafting. But like I said, this is going to require some serious TNT to do this, and I don't want to have this thing wasting time making crap every other turn. So we'll see. But real quick, I'll just kind of show you. We'll grab a thing of sand and then some gunpowder, and we'll just throw them in here. And if we take this sand, this is your timer for this thing. It goes by seconds. You can't click on this thing with a stack. If you click on it with a stack, it'll get a stack. And for sand, it's 1 second per piece. So we just want 1. So we're going to put that in there. And it's going to start clicking off. Like I said, you can kind of see it. It kind of goes in order. Clicks one, then the other. You saw that TNT drop. It got picked up by the placer over there. You just saw the crap drop, but I wasn't looking directly at it. So TNT dropped. Now the next time it drops, it'll be crap again. Crap. It gets picked up by this chest. And then TNT again. But see, see what I'm saying is that since it's an odd numbered recipe, since it's 9 instead of 8, if the crafting grid was 8, that would be awesome. But with 9, it screws it up. And like I said, you can do this without the Corporea network. Like I said, you'd want to do redstone torches to kind of turn it on and turn it off, so it only drops 1. What else did I do that on? I know I did that somewhere, and I just, for the life of me, cannot remember where. Maybe I did that on... no worries. But that's it. So if you didn't know how to use the Ember Forge, or if you already put a notice on here on a previous video, I'm sorry, I figured it out. This is probably being taped before the one that I said I didn't know how to use it came out. So yeah. And guys, I appreciate you coming by. I hope this helps somebody out. If so, let me know. If you need more information, let me know. Until next time, guys, I appreciate it, and I will see y'all later.